Hello and welcome. I'm Irma Baker. So glad you could be with us today. This is one of my favorite shows of the year, really, and it's such an important show because this is the one where we do the Social Security update. What's new? What's important? The kind of things that you all want to know. And to have that information for us, we have one of our favorite guests, and that is Robert Fenn. He's with Public Affairs at Social Security Administration. Welcome, Robert.
Well, hello, hello, hello. And even though I haven't seen you, so I'm still going to say it. Happy New Year to you. And thank you for having me again.
Well, thank you so much, too. It really is always a pleasure. And at least we have this opportunity for any of you who are watching there and wondering. We're saying that because we're doing this via Zoom again, as we have because of the pandemic. So, welcome, everyone. And again, welcome, Robert. What do you have to tell us today?
Well, I'm going to pull up my slide because I brought a slide presentation. So this is my little treat. So we can see it and hear it at the same time, the information I'm going to share with you. So I am going to share my screen on this Zoom platform. And so I'm going to speak about the Social Security 2022 updates. Now, this is very important because many individuals know that there was a cost of living adjustment effective in January. 5.9% was added to Social Security individuals, the beneficiaries' Social Security payments, but that 5.9% also affects other things. So that's what I want to cover today. There's other topics. I'm going to talk a little bit about the earnings test. I'm going to cover a little bit about how to protect yourself. And of course, there's something big coming in Medicare. So I want to make sure I cover those things. So we should have some fun there, Ms. Baker.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. What do you have for us?
Now, the first thing I want to share with everyone is mymoney.gov. Now, mymoney.gov, for those who may not be aware of this, but if you are trying to find a source in which you can get information on anything that's related to the government, and in particular, 20 different federal agencies, all on one website for free, it is mymoney.gov. So information about Social Security, IRS, VA, even the Railroad Board, that information is on one website, mymoney.gov. Or maybe it's something that someone's looking at practically. Maybe there's a person who's just had a newborn child. Information is there. If someone is saying, I would like to purchase a new car, you can look underneath these suites where it says earn, borrow, save and invest, spend, protect. You can get information all on this website and give you little tips. One of the tips I like to share is that it mentioned if I was going to purchase a car, but I had a trade-in, I would want to negotiate the price of the car that I'm purchasing and then mention the trade-in. Now, I know I just made every car salesperson possibly bristle, but this is just good information for you to have. mymoney.gov. Check it out.
I never heard of that, Robert.
Yes.
I'm really surprised. It sounds like it has such an immense amount of really helpful information.
Yes, I look at it as a financial advisor, no fee. Again, it's part of the government's financial literacy. And as you can see in the emblem there, Financial Literacy and Education Commission. So it's a good source there. I like it, Ms. Baker.
Well, I want to mention something to our viewers right now that these programs on WCTV are available after the show, too. You can go to watchwctv.com and find any of our shows. I know Robert's sharing a lot of information today that you might want to refer back to. So that's the way to do it. Watch WCTV and find RSVP. Okay, Robert, back to you.
That's great, great. And one of the things that they're going to want to come back to is to refer to the earnings. Many people will contact me and say, well, I am receiving a Social Security retirement payment. Can I still work? Who doesn't want to get a little extra income, right? And maybe just supplement your Social Security benefits, or just quite frankly, you want to go on vacation and you're like, okay, maybe I can do a side job. But I have concerns because I want to make sure that my earnings of working with the W-2 or self-employed net earnings, are they affecting my Social Security payments? So there are some numbers I'm going to share with you. And again, these are the numbers for 2022. In 2022, if a person is less than his or her full retirement age, you can make $19,560 this year. $19,560. If you make that dollar amount gross or less, the Social Security benefit will continue to be paid out to you without any issue. If you're turning your full retirement age, so this year, for those who are reaching age 66 in 4 months, will be their full retirement age. If you're turning that full retirement age this year, you are able to make $51,960. $51,960 without it affecting your Social Security payments. Now, I need to make sure I preface this, or at least say this to you. Many times people think, and they do this all the time to me, Irma, they will say, well, I make more than the $19,560. So does that mean I can't get a check? Not so, not so. If you are less than your full retirement age, and let's say you were making up a number here, $30,000, there's a little math calculation we do. We take the 30,000, subtract it from the 19, and just to make it simple for us, Irma. So let's say it's 30 from 20,000, that equals 10,000. And then we divide that by half. That's why you see that 1 for every 2. So my math will be $5,000 is the amount that Social Security will say, before we send you a payment, we need to hold back this dollar amount. So if my Social Security check was $1,000 per month, 1,000 goes into 5,000 5 times. So the beginning of the year, January through May is 5 months. The person would not receive a check January through May. June's check will be paid in July, and July for the rest of the year, July through December, they will receive a payment. What's my point? That means they got $1,000 July through the rest of the year. So let's just say 7 checks, $7,000. They were working, and their income was $30,000. So they took home, if you will, $37,000 for the year. So it's a great option for people to be aware of, that just because you are working does not mean you're not eligible to receive your Social Security payments. And then as you said here, as I just said, the $51,960 is the amount that we would use if you are turning your full retirement age. And then once you hit your full retirement age, unlimited income. Does not matter at all. So if your full retirement age was 66 in 2 months, 66 in 4 months, whatever it is, you can work to your heart's desire, and it would not have any effect. So I'll make sure I pause to make sure. You think that came off to the listeners clear there, Irma?
I think the chart is here, and they can always go back and listen to your explanation just by going to watchwctv.com.
That's right. So listen what Irma says. She knows. Make sure you come back to WCTV and you'll be able to get those numbers. The next thing I want to share with you, I do receive these questions, and it's an unfortunate situation where someone has lost their loved one. They were married, and then unfortunately, the spouse passed away. And then let's say the surviving individual files for widow or widower's payments. And then they're wondering, now that I'm receiving this current payment as a widow or widower, can I switch back or switch to earnings that I've made on my own? Because I was working, paying in Social Security, which means you're paying that FICA tax, and you're wondering, can you make the switch? The answer is yes. So my simple example would be, what if a person was receiving an $800 payment as a widow or widower? They continue to work, and let's say that $19,000 amount that I just mentioned, they were making that. And as time passes, that money that they were earning starts to accrue, and it builds up their own Social Security pot, if you will, all right? Even though it's not an individual pot, but it adds to their own earnings. Then maybe what they've made on their own would generate a check for them for Social Security of $900. That person could then switch from the $800 payment to the $900 payment on their own. Or again, vice versa. They were getting a $800 payment on their own. Their spouse passed away, and then they can make a switch to get their higher $900 check on their spouse's record. The point that I want to just make sure I say to everyone is contact Social Security. If a loved one passes away, or if you continue to work after getting a Social Security payment, our system can read some of that, but we need you to contact us in this case here for a widow or widower's switch so you can get a higher payment.
And the way to start contacting you is through socialsecurity.gov?
Yes. Well, in this case here, it does start going to our website, socialsecurity.gov. All right. Get the information. Make sure you are educated. Make sure you're aware of your options. In the case of a switch, in this case here, because we haven't caught up yet in terms of technology yet, to making that switch, the person would call the 1-800-772-1213 number as our national number if they're looking to get a local appointment for one of us to contact you to confirm that you wish to make that switch.
Okay, so we have a starting point and we just go on from there.
That's right. That's right. I wish I didn't have to keep talking about this, but I do, and I shall, and I will, because I do not want anyone else becoming a victim or subject to these scams. Now, why am I bringing it up? Because the individuals are still receiving phone calls. Sometimes individuals are getting automated phone calls. Some people are getting texts. Some people receive literature in the mail saying that they're from Social Security, and they're asking, in some cases, threatening you to submit monies in order to receive money or some type of access to Social Security. We don't do that. We don't give money just because your eggs weren't scrambled and your toast wasn't the right texture, right? That doesn't happen. And we also, on a serious note, we don't think that just because your grandson was arrested, that now you need to send X amount of dollars so we can contact Social Security, who can then help you with the law enforcement in order to release your grandson from jail. Social Security does not do that. Social Security does not contact anyone nor threaten them, more importantly, with some type of legal ramifications, period. So I'm still going to.
Social Security does not use scare tactics
At all. And that's why you see in the middle of the screen here, we will never threaten you at all with arrest or anything at all. I've had a relative who was contacted. That relative was told that they needed to go to a local box store. And in that case here, they told them to put X amount of money on gift cards. They told them then to call them back and give them the gift card numbers. No. And I'm glad that my relative did not do that, because that is not something that Social Security would do, and nor would any reputable place have you put money on a gift card to send them the monies. Simply hang up. That's my point. Hang up. If you receive one of these phone calls, at the bottom of the screen here, there's a source for you, oig.ssa.gov. You can have someone else help you if you wish. Go to that website, Office of Inspector General.ssa, Social Security Administration.gov, and report that. They're looking to make sure to see where these individuals are calling from. Even if it's a robotic voice, they still like to know the time. Where did they say they came from? The call came from. What's the area code if it popped up on your caller ID? So those are little things that will help them. I want to make sure I say this because many people think, well, it's already happened. I disclosed something. What should you do? Many people think they should call Social Security, because it's a Social Security number. But the Social Security number actually was used in a way that affects credit, right? These are the sources that you want to go to. These are technically there's 5 major credit agencies, credit bureaus, but 3 are the major ones. Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and this number and information is going to be there. As you said, Irma, people can come back to WCTV and review this. These are the sources that they want to contact, and this is the information. So I have it up there. If you want to write a letter, there's a PO box on there. If you want to call in, I have those phone numbers all listed for you on this presentation. Unfortunately, let's say if someone is subject to some type of elder abuse, there's a phone number I'm sharing with you. Or if you wish to contact or be on the do not call list. So I've given you that phone number here, the 382-1222. And the elder care number, if you suspect that, 1-800-677-1116. Unfortunately, too many of our fellow and friends and who may be seniors, it could be others out there who are preying on them. And unfortunately, it could be a family member. And maybe you wish to disclose, anonymously a phone call if you think something is going on that should not be taking place. These are the sources for you. So those are the numbers.
It's definitely scary stuff to think about, but unfortunately it happens.
Yes, this is true. And that's why we're here, Irma, to help anyone, because we don't know who could be watching this right now. And we're hoping that they'll be able to take the time to write down this number and get some help. It's tax season, Irma.
Oh,
yes. Oh, it is tax season. And so I want to make sure that I share this information because people say, well, do I have to file taxes if I'm receiving a Social Security payment? The key, the thing that you want to know is how much are you receiving? Because IRS, not Social Security, IRS has a guideline that looks at your income. I'm going to make it short and sweet for you. IRS is going to look at your adjusted gross income. Now I have everybody's attention, right? They're looking all at the screen now, Irma. They're making sure they're going to look at your adjusted gross income, any non-taxable interest, and half of the amount that you receive for the year from Social Security. So if you add those things up, that will come up to a total what we call your combined income. Combined income. So again, your adjusted gross income, non-taxable interest, and half of your Social Security benefits. That's titled as your combined income. So if your combined income as an individual is $25,000 to $34,000, IRS could look to tax up to, doesn't mean they will, but it could tax up to 50%. If you're individual and your income is over $34,000, they can look to tax up to 85%. Now, again, notice how I'm saying it, up to. It could be 0, it could be 2, it could be 27, it could be whatever it may be. The IRS, they're the source, they're the lead on this. I'm just saying to you, when people contact Social Security, this is the information that I can share with you. And what you do need to know is it's your combined income that's going to be called into play so they can so you can understand why will or why won't IRS look to tax your Social Security benefits. If you're a couple, numbers are 32,000 to 44,000, up to 50% could be possibly taxed. And if you're as a couple, 44,000 up to 85% could be potentially taxed of that half that I mentioned to you. What do people do? Commonly, people will file their taxes, Irma. They will file their taxes, and then they will say, oh, I got a ding. That's the word I'm going to use. I got a ding, and now I need to see if I can have some Social Security taxes taken out, some taxes taken out of my Social Security payment, because they receive that ding. So then they can contact us and we can have a form filled out. You can get this from IRS. It's called a W4V, or you can get it from Social Security, W4V form. And we can have increments of 7, 10, 12, and 22% withheld from your Social Security check because there aren't any taxes taken out of the check itself. So that's my little point.
If you understand where your income levels are, then you can make that intelligent decision as to whether or not some taxes should be taken out of your monthly Social Security check rather than having it hit you at the end.
Yes, yes. And again, we are encouraging you to talk to your accountants, your CPAs, your financial advisors, IRS, because they have the authority on this. It's not Social Security, it's not Robert, it's not Irma, but we are sharing this information with you so you can know where's the starting point, what are the guidelines. And then as you said, Irma, there are dollar amounts which are going to give you that clue. I just encourage everyone, talk to IRS. Hope you can hear that.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Yes. Here's a big one now, Irma. This is something, when you ever watch television and every time you turn on the TV, you catch the same point in the movie, it just happens. You're like, oh, I see this movie again. And I get the same event that happens, whatever it may be. This is what you're going to catch with me. because I'm going to be speaking about this throughout the whole year of 2022. And that is the Medicare enrollment. There is a big change that's going to take place in 2023. So that's going to allow me to speak about it all during 22. What is that? Well, there is a initial enrollment period for people to enroll to Medicare. There's a special enrollment period. The initial enrollment period is 3 months before 65 and 3 months after the month you turn 65. Special enrollment period means someone was working, then retired, and then wanted to start their Medicare, possibly. The general enrollment period is the third traditional way to get Medicare. Well, here's the thing, Irma. If someone missed the first two opportunities, and then they had to enroll during a general enrollment period in 2022, which would be January, February, and March, they would enroll with us, but it wouldn't become effective to that July of the year. So if you enroll January, February, and March of this year in the general enrollment period because you missed those other two opportunities, it would become effective July 2022. And what would happen is Medicare has a guideline that if more than a year, 12 months have passed, Medicare will assess you a 10% penalty. Well, December 27th, I believe, 2020, the president signed the law that now come 2023, if someone misses those other two opportunities and they enroll in the general enrollment period, January, February, and March, the month that they contact us, Medicare will start the next month. So if they talk to us in January, it'll start in February. Talk to us in February, it'll start in March. Talk to us in March, it'll start in April, versus waiting all the way to July and possibly being subject to that 10% penalty. Now, I'm not saying it's going to wipe away anyone from possibly being subject to that penalty, but it's going to lessen the amount of time for that full year. And most importantly, it will get that individual their Medicare benefits sooner. So I just shook the world on that, Irma. That's big news.
Oh, that's a major change, because all along people have looked at it a different way and maybe made their decisions about when to apply based on that.
Absolutely. So I'll keep repeating this throughout the whole year. I need to make sure that people are aware of this 2022, and when we get into 2023, we'll be covering that topic. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to make sure I'm going to cover for everyone is my Social Security counts. Irma, I think you and we've talked about this a couple of times, haven't we?
Well, yes, we have. I know I signed up for that a long time. And sign up is not the right thing. We're working with a website, but that website, you need to set up an account with that website.
That's right. Irma is not an endorsed or a paid or a plant person for this, but she is an excellent example of the fact that it can be done, and she is doing it. I have done it. Many of us are doing it in order to make sure that we're accessing our Social Security record. One, if you're not receiving any Social Security benefits at all, you need to make sure that all those years that you've been working, are they properly reported? Two, what if you are receiving Social Security benefits and you say, I am not going to go to that office and sit in those long lines, right? People do say that. That's honest, Irma. That's what people say. Well, here's an option, an honest option for you, is using the website, socialsecurity.gov, and opening a My Social Security account. You'll see it on our homepage, and I have the little red arrow here pointing to the hand. You can click that button there, and it will start the questions for you. You will see also on their website something called LinkedIn.gov, as well as ID Me. If you can't answer all of our questions, what we call out of wallet questions, you will be able to use those sources there, and it'll pull information in. And then maybe in the case of the ID Me feature, it can actually pull up a Zoom feature so you can verify who you are, because we're going to go through a series of questions just to make sure the person on the other side of that computer is who we think they are. So check it out, mysocialsecurity.gov. It's a great option for those who are receiving Social Security payments. If you need to change your address, change your phone number. Many people think, Irma, that if they're getting direct deposit and they move to another location from home to home, resident, whatever it may be, residency, that they don't need to change their address, but they do, because we also mail information out. And if we get mail back, that's like a flag to us. So then we would possibly look to cease those payments until we get a notification or for you to contact us to make sure that We have the right address as well as the banking information. So that's why it's important to keep up with your address, your phone number, or again, if you just need to change your financial institution, this is a source for you. Your Medicare card.
Yeah, I want to make one point there too.
Please.
And that is, if you get a call, like we were talking about scam awareness before, if you get a call saying, oh, you need to sign up for this, and they give you a number, don't call it.
Do not.
If you get a letter and it has that website on it, don't do that. Go to the official Social Security website and find it through that. Don't trust anything that comes through the phone, your email, your postal mail, whatever. Be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Look for it. Again, our website, the official website is socialsecurity.gov. Now, I will say this, along with that point, if you contacted Social Security, you wanted us to call you back, or you wanted us to mail you something, then okay, it makes sense that you received something in the mail. But if you're trying to verify, you can call the 800 number, 772-1213. You can call that number and say, is there a John Joseph who works there? We can pull it up in our gallery and we can tell you, yes, this person works in the Wadsworth area and this is a Social Security benefit employee. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here and I'm going to voila, come back, magic. And
all we have time to do is say goodbye because we are just at the end of our time for today. And it's been such a pleasure. Oh my gosh, all that you shared with us. Thank you so much, Robert.
It's my pleasure. I thank you for having me. And I'm hoping everyone is staying safe. And again, as you said, Irma, come back, check out WCTV and read this information, allow it to sink in, get your cup of coffee and enjoy it.
Thank you so much. And that's good advice on all formats. So thank you. And thank you, everybody, for viewing today. And I hope you do come back and review this information. And as Robert said, stay safe. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.